For post-analysis on the U.S. Africa Leaders Summit, I'm joined live via Skype from Washington by Kwaku Nuamah, a professor of international politics at American University. Professor Nuamah, welcome to Africa 54.
Thanks for having me, Esther.
You followed the discourse in Washington last week. What are the three top takeaways from this summit for Africa?
I think there are many takeaways, but three that stand out is, one, Africa matters again to the United States after the chaos of the Trump years and the difficulty of COVID. I think the Biden administration, having done very well in the midterm elections, wants to turn the page and they want to reset relations with Africa. The second thing is that the relationship with the West also matters to Africans, because African countries, there was a rumor in Washington that many were not planning to attend this summit. But as we saw, almost everybody that was invited showed up. So that's important. And then the last takeaway is that Africa wants a different sort of relationship with the United States. So that involves the ability to have good relations with the United States whilst also maintaining these options when it comes to Russia and China. Now, Africans don't want to be lectured to. And if you listen to the speech that Macky Sall made, he brought that up, that Africans need to be respected when it comes to making these choices for themselves.
Obviously, the leaders of Africa were invited in advance, so they planned on when to get here, how to get here. But did you get a sense that Africa was prepared to put on the table what Africa needs most at this time?
So it's always hard to coordinate when we have 54 different countries. Each country wants something. But from what we saw from particularly Macky Sall speaking for the community, was able to articulate some of our needs at the large level. So security, cooperations with the United States, trade and U.S. involvement in Africa's continuous search for development, but also the question of whether Africans can have a chance to make their own policy when it comes to relations with Russia and China. So currently there's a law being passed in the United States. This is Representative Gregory Meeks' a bill which will punish African countries that essentially cooperate with Russia. And Macky Sall said, we are not interested in that. We want you to respect us to make decisions for ourselves. So don't tell us who we can be friends with and who we cannot be friends with. So that gives me a sense that there was some type of coordination, but it's very hard to come up with a big, plan that works for everybody. And especially this is also the beginning of a new dialogue with a new administration. As we continue these types of interactions, better coordination may come forward. But as I said, 54 countries, it's hard to agree on everything.
However, we still expect to see something tangible coming out of the continent after this summit. Professor Kwaku, thank you so much for your perspective.